Born in Naples, the son of artist Eduardo Matania, Fortunino Matania studied at his father's studio, designing a soap advertisement at the age of 9 and exhibiting his first work at Naples Academy at 11. By the age of 14, he was helping his father produce illustrations for books and magazines. His talent was recognised by the editor of the Italian periodical L'Illustrazione Italiana, and Matania produced weekly illustrations for the magazine between 1895 and 1902. At the age of 20, Matania began working in Paris for Illustration Française, and in 1902 was invited to London to cover the coronation of Edward VII for the Graphic. Matania would subsequently cover every major event, marriage, christening, funeral and coronation of British royalty up to the coronation of Queen Elizabeth in 1953. According to Peter Richardson, writing in the new issue of the British magazine Illustrators, he was invited to accompany King George and Queen Mary to India when they were installed as King Emperor and Queen Empress at the Delhi Durbar of 1911. Matania's resourcefulness on such occasions was also in a league unto itself. Such was the multitude of troops and onlookers at the event that there was little space allocated to the press. The majority of them were obliged to observe the proceedings through binoculars as the distant dignitaries shimmered and eddied into the searing heat. Matania, who had mapped out his preparatory work at the dress rehearsal, nevertheless wanted to get as close to the action as possible, and managed to secure a position at the front of the steps leading up to the royal thrones.
To ensure I remained as unobtrusive as possible, I secured myself an army uniform, remained rigidly at attention, and committed the whole scene in all its pomp and splendour to my memory.
He got the completed artwork back to London within a fortnight, and the resultant artworks were considered so successful that he was honoured with a coronation medal. In 1904, Matania joined the staff of The Sphere, where some of his most famous work was to appear, including his illustrations of the sinking of the RMS Titanic in 1912. At the outbreak of the First World War, Matania became a war artist and was acclaimed for his graphic and realistic images of trench warfare.
I amassed a large collection of weapons and uniforms to ensure the accuracy of my work, which, after the end of the Great War, drew great interest from the police. Once I narrowly escaped with my life when a shell landed within 5 yards of where I was working on a painting of the aftermath of the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle in 1915. I later built a reconstruction trench in my garden in Potters Bar, Hertfordshire, to ensure all the details of my trench paintings were accurate.
His painting for the Blue Cross, entitled Goodbye, Old Man, showing a British soldier saying farewell to his dying horse, is a fine example of his emotive work. But it was after the war, when he switched to scenes of ancient high life for the British woman's magazine Britannia and Eve, that Matania found his real career. His talents made him a popular illustrator for advertising posters and catalogues, working for the LMS, designing posters for Southport and Blackpool. Matania was also recommended to Hollywood director Cecil B. DeMille, and produced a number of paintings of Rome and Egypt, from which authentic designs could be made for the movie The Ten Commandments. Matania died in London in 1963 at the age of 81. His work is in UK public collections, including the Blue Cross, the Imperial War Museum, the National Portrait Gallery, and the V&A.